Jersey Joe Walcott, and he can be remembered for being a great champion, and he will be long remembered. And of course, he was the former boxing commissioner for the state of New Jersey, and a lot of people have a lot of good things to say about him. Here's a young man that fought something like 70-some fights as a professional, Jersey Joe Walcott, 79, 80 years of age when he passed away. And of course, one of the young men who it meant a lot to in terms of having an impact on his career is with me right now, who's also promoting this particular fight. Butch Lewis, your thoughts on Jersey Joe?
Well, Charlie, number one, if it weren't for the likes of a Jersey Joe Walcott, I'd have to say there wouldn't be a Butch Lewis. He meant more to the sport than just boxing. Joe was once a county sheriff, and he gave a lot of kids that was maybe getting in trouble in the street a second chance. Rather than lock them up, he would just take them and sit them down and talk to them and send them home to their parents. With me, in terms of myself, I'd have to be here for hours on end just trying to say the things that Joe Walcott has done for me as a person, and the likes of the Ali's and Joe Frazier's and Michael Spinks and Ray Leonard's, and the list goes on and on. He's helped us so much. It's devastating to have to lose him, but I think Joe, if he were here now, he would say he's lived a long life at 80 years old, and I just would appreciate the fans out there taking time out to say a brief little prayer in his memory.
Well, I'll tell you, as a guy who had a great career from 1930 to 1953, and was 39 years of age when he retired from the world of boxing. And he's still
the oldest to win the heavyweight title.
You're right. And we're going to bring Larry Hazzard in. Come on, Larry. We'll step on in here for a moment. Larry Hazzard is now the boxing commissioner for the state of New Jersey. He succeeded Jersey Joe Walcott. And here's a man I'm sure that had a lot of impact on your career and the fact that you're in the position that you're in right now, Larry.
You know, Charlie, Jersey Joe Walcott was such a great humanitarian. It was Jersey Joe Walcott who in 1978 gave me my opportunity as a professional boxing referee. Little did we know at that time that he was naming his successor,
right,
you know, as the boxing commissioner. And his death, I got a call this morning, and I'm still broken up from that. And you know what's so amazing about Jersey Joe Walcott is not only was he a great heavyweight champion, but what a human being and a humanitarian. When he was a Camden County sheriff, youngsters would get in trouble, and he wouldn't lock them up. He would take them home and talk to them, things like that. There's so many stories that, you know, I could tell you about Jersey Joe Walcott, the humanitarian, not so much the fighter.
Sure.
And, you know, he was a tribute to the sport of boxing, and we certainly are going to miss him. And, you know, I'll always remember Jersey Joe Walcott as the man who gave me my opportunity become a boxing referee.
All right, thank you. Larry Hazzard, the boxing commissioner for the state of New Jersey, and Jersey Joe Walcott, long remembered by the state. We'll be back. Charlie Neal, along with Elmer Smith, we get ready for the main event of the evening. USBA middleweight champ Bernard, the execution of Hopkins, going against Mel Uinn. I had a chance to talk to that young man, Mel Uinn, who is 32 years of age. Earlier today, we talked earlier, Elmer and myself, and we talked about the fact that here's a young man that fought just last Saturday, got a call on Thursday, and here he is today getting ready to face the USBA middleweight champ.
Like I say, all I need to do is to be the top contender. I've fought 5 world contenders and lost decisions in their own hometown. And I feel that they've been rip-offs. In a game of boxing, you know, anything can happen, and you know, I feel strongly about my skills as a boxer, and I think I could overcome and just go out and do the best I can and do what I have to do.
And the task for him tonight is going to be monumental. And of course, the executioner, he has no shame, 24-2. Let's see what he has to say about his opponent tonight, which he doesn't know a lot about.
Our plan is always to get guys out of there quick as possible. But I have to be honest and admit that when you're fighting and you train in 7 to 8 hard weeks, sacrificing from your family, your wife, and being away in camp, and you train hard, and you get to fall back in the mold of wanting to go to rounds. I mean, you don't want to, but sometimes you want to show people that you're not just a banger because you have all the knockouts and you're the executioner. And maybe I have in somewhat got out of my game to let people know that I'm a boxer, not a runner, but a boxer puncher. I'm a complete fighter. After them fights, I'd have went to new heights. I'd have went further in my career. I'd have been to a world championship fight around world-class people. And that only shows that I'm right now as a complete fighter, a complete package. It's just now I'm just picking up that trophy, that gold, and that's that world championship title.
Kind of interesting in the fact that he's saying everything is ended so fast for him. Maybe he'd like to take his opponent a little longer, and it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, actually, I've known fighters who feel that way. Very seldom will they ever say so in public. It's one of the questions I asked Al Williams a little bit earlier on in our interview. And I'm not surprised to hear that. On the other hand, a fighter like the Executioner has to do what he has to do. Executing his skills means being a knockout puncher.
19 knockouts for Bernard Hopkins, 8 for his opponent, Melvin Uinn. Let's go up to Ed Darian, our ring announcer for the particulars on tonight's fight.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're on BET Sports Live. At this time, we have a few boxing guests in attendance that would like to call on to enter the ring. First off, former middleweight contender of the world from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Willie the Worm Monroe.
Yeah.
Former light heavyweight champion of the world from Mansfield, Ohio, Prince Charles Williams. A young man, junior middleweight, is fighting for the WBC Continental Americas Championship tomorrow here in Atlantic City, Curtis Summit. Curtis Summit. The senior vice president of the Sands, Rob Goldstein. A junior middleweight out of Baltimore with a record of 19 wins and 2 losses, Andrew Council. All right, and also former lightweight champion, the USBA lightweight champion, Tyrone Butterfly Crawley. Also with us in attendance, the former light heavyweight champion of the world, as well as the former heavyweight champion of the world, Michael Spinks. And also, the former heavyweight champion of the world out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, just celebrated his 50th birthday in January. Here he is, smoking Joe Frazier. And ladies and gentlemen, the commissioner of the New Jersey State Athletic Control Board, who is doing one hell of a job here in the state of New Jersey for boxing and everything else that goes with it. Ladies and gentlemen, here he is, the Honorable Larry Hazard Sr. And the young man who has brought this fight card on BET Sports, the man who is doing an incredible job as a boxing promoter. Naturally, he's shirtless with his bow tie. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, Butch Lewis. Butch Lewis. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, I have very sad news. We have lost a man that I loved for a long, long time. He was Mr. Boxing. He passed away today. He was the former heavyweight champion of the world, the commissioner of the New Jersey State Athletic Control Board, a man that I love dearly, a father. We have lost not only a champion, not only a commissioner, but a genuine human being. We lost a great legend, Jersey Joe Walcott. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to ask each and every one of you to kindly stand. On behalf of Butch Lewis Productions, our commissioner, the Honorable Larry Hazard Sr. We have a custom in boxing. When we lose a dear one, we have the final 10 count. Our timekeeper to bell, Earl Curry, will toll the bell for the final time for a great human being, our champion, Jersey Joe Walcott. Earl Curry, please. Thank you so much. No applause, please.
So, Elmer Smith, of course, we talked about,
ladies and gentlemen,
your association with Jersey Joe Walcott and some of the stories. Maybe we'll get a chance to talk about it before the evening is over. But let's talk about this particular fight, our main event of the evening. Tail of the tape for the executioner and his opponent Uinn, 33 years of age. For Melvin Uinn, he's 5'11". Hopkins is 28, 6'1". Weight difference only 2 pounds. Reach, Uinn has a 2-inch advantage. And you see the records of the two fighters. Bernard Hopkins lost his first ever professional fight and then won a number of fights before losing the IBF middleweight title to Roy Jones, or championship fight. Roy Jones was the opponent last May, and he was on the undercard of a big fight down in Washington, D.C. at RFK Stadium. Riddick Bowe was the main event in that particular on that particular card. And more importantly, Bernard said to me, maybe he was caught up in all the hype and all the hoopla. That was the biggest, I guess, spectacular arena that he has been in. As you look at the executioner there, Bernard Hopkins. He's gotten married. He said he's got a new life ahead of him, and we know that his past hasn't always been what it should have been, but he's a new man, not only in the ring but out of the ring.
Absolutely, an inspiring story both in and out of the ring. As you say, a person who has not always started at the best start, but he's a fighter and a man who has taken himself to a new level in his career and in his life, and obviously we wish him the best. This is a night when he ought to be able to execute his skills well enough against a willing fighter, a fighter who has a good record, and a fighter who can give him the kind of showcase that he needs, but a fight that Bernard the Executioner ought to win.
Ed Darien introducing the two combatants.
He has 24 wins, 8 losses with 8 knockouts. All the way from Atlanta, Georgia. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome aboard Melvin, the Spoiler Uinn. Uinn. And his opponent in the red corner, wearing the black trunks with the gold trim. He tipped in at 163.5 pounds. He has 24 wins, 2 losses with 19 knockouts. He is the current USBA middleweight champion from the Germantown section of Philadelphia. Ladies and gentlemen, here is Bernard, the Executioner Hopkins.
So Bernard Hopkins trying to improve his record to 25-2, and of course we've seen him throughout his career basically here on BET.
Absolutely.
And so we know basically what he can do. Tony Orlando is the referee.
Referee Tony Orlando.
So let's see what Mr. Uinn has up. He last fought, as we said, last Saturday. He was in Hamburg, Germany, against a young man named Sadie Ali. He lost an 8-round decision. In fact, Ali was a former German champion, light heavyweight. He fought as a light heavyweight last week. He had to lose 8 pounds coming in here. And he looks like he's come out pretty strong in this fight.
Very strong. He's come out at least very active, moving side to side. And when he does advance, he's advancing behind his jab. He's a little bit straight up, but he's not a static target.
Much older, giving away in terms of age. He is 32 years of age compared to Hopkins.
But as a young-looking 32 years of age, he hasn't had that many fights over a fairly long career. They've been spaced out fairly evenly. He's obviously in good shape, as much as we can tell by the condition of his body. So I would not think that the 32 years of age is a deficit for him.
He said one of his strengths is the fact that he's had a lot of experience. He's landing some fairly good shots, although Hopkins counters with the left.
Bernard is doing what he has to do here, which is largely staying inside the wider punches of Uinn, but also taking advantage of the fact that Uinn fights kind of straight up.
One of the things we haven't seen too much in dealing with the fights that we've done with Bernard Hopkins is many of them going past the first round. In fact, when he won the USBA title against Powell in May of '92, I'm sorry, in December of '92, right here on BET, that's a fight that went 21 seconds into the first round, and that was it.
Absolutely, 21 seconds. Wasn't necessary for him to take a shower after that fight.
Yeah, he didn't work too hard, did he? He didn't even get a sweat.
Charlie, this has the makings of a pretty good fight. I don't know how long it will last, but Uinn is a willing and skillful fighter.
As you saw the graphic, don't forget basketball coming your way from Orangeburg, South Carolina. Sam Jones, Gil Harris down there, and they'll be bringing you the action immediately following this bout right here on BET at 10 o'clock Eastern Time, or as soon as we leave the air. It'll be coming to you, Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference, Morgan State and South Carolina State, as they get ready for their tournament. There's a left that caught, and it looked like more of a push. I don't think it was a solid hit.
Well, no, I think there was a right on top that may have dispatched him. We'll be able to see it on replay, I believe. But you caught the left down low, and I think there was also a right on top that would have to be considered a knockdown punch.
Uinn with sort of a left himself that caught Hopkins. Round 1. Uinn may survive. Charlie Neal, Elmer Smith here in Atlantic City at the Sands. Bernard Hopkins, the USBA middleweight champ, going against Melvin Uinn. This is not a title fight, but it is a good fight so far. Melvin Uinn has held his own. He has survived one round with the executioner.
He's fought well. That was they fought at a good crisp pace early on, and I thought that Uinn did the kinds of things that he told us that he needed to do to stay in this fight. However, the knockdown was a factor that cost him the round. It cost him the round big, even though he fought it on fairly even terms most of the way.
Roy Ritchie was one of those men who took the executioner 5 rounds before he disposed of him. You know, he kind of feels maybe that some people don't show up for the fight. As we said at the beginning of the telecast, Elmer, Joaquin Velasquez was the man who was scheduled to be on the card instead of Uinn. Uinn gets the call on Thursday, so I give him a lot of credit. In fact, I said to him today earlier, you got a lot of nerve. I don't think I'd have showed up for a fight against a guy like Hopkins with 2 days' notice, especially after fighting over in Germany.
Absolutely.
Jet lag coming from across the waters in this, another country. Plus, he got back on Tuesday, gets a call on Thursday, and here he is on Saturday in Atlantic City. But he's in trouble right now.
On the other hand, though, these short notice fights are a land of opportunity for a fighter like Uinn. If he is applying his trade the way he ought to, if he's in good shape.
Round number 2 we're in right now.
Now, he's been hurt by especially the little short uppercuts like that.
You heard Uinn say earlier that he's fought 5 world contenders, and he's lost the decisions to them because it was in their hometown.
Yes.
And he didn't have much of a chance in terms of being in Germany last week.
Well, if this fight continues to go the way it does, the judges won't get much of a chance.
No, they won't.
Now, Bernard Hopkins is a classic kind of a fighter. He's really fun to watch for people who have been watching boxing for a while. You notice that his hands are quick, but the real beauty of his attack is how he shortens up inside.
When you look at some of the other people in the middleweight division, guys like Lamar Parks and Thomas Tate, that's in the USBA. But look at the IBF, for example. Roy Jones, the title holder there. You've got Julian Jackson from the Virgin Islands.
Very fine puncher.
And you've got Otis Grant from Canada, Lamar Parks, people like that. I mean, it's
a tough division.
It is.
And it's a division that you can't think of a limit really to 154 pounds. If you look at the division from the standpoint of 154 to 168 pounds, that is the junior middleweights and super middleweights included.
Round number 3, scheduled for 10. Charlie Neal and Elmer Smith with you here at the Sands Casino in Atlantic City. Bernard Hopkins in the black trunks going against Melvin Wynn out of Atlanta. Good left hook by Hopkins and a right. And Wynn is staggered. He is off balance. He was staggered by that strong, vicious right by Hopkins. But Wynn comes back with a left of his own, but he leaves himself wide open after he throws and lands a punch.
Yeah. He needs to circle away. Circle away. All right, step out. There he goes. Well, he's going to be in trouble here as long as he stays inside.
And a right has knocked him down here in the third.
His corner is trying to stop the fight.
They do.
It's all over.
In the third round, Bernard Hopkins with the TKO.
And he looks disappointed. He wants more action.
And that's what we talked about
earlier. Don't look this way.
That's what he talked about earlier. He wants to have some more rounds with his opponent. I think he got tired of knocking people out early in the fight. Let's look at it once again, Elmer.
Straight right hand, left hook, straight right hand.
And the corner says, hey, no mas.
No mas. Now, what we didn't see earlier is the beautiful left that was actually a counter punch.
I'll go up with him. Go with him, and I'll come back. I'll take the swing. Thank you.
The damage in that series of punches started with a left hand that was actually a counter punch. He slipped a right and landed over the top.
So the technical knockout, the fight stopped, and Bernard Hopkins' record goes to 25-2, and that is his 20th knockout. Melvin Wynn from Atlanta, his record falls to 24-9. Ed Darian.
Get out of here. Ladies and gentlemen, from the beautiful Copa Room here at the sensational Sands Hotel and Casino, referee Tony Orlando stops this bout at 48 seconds of the third round, and a winner by a TKO, Bernard the Executioner Hopkins. Hopkins. And how about a nice round of applause for Melvin, the spoiler win. Let's hear it for him.
So 48 seconds into the third round, Tony Orlando, the referee, actually basically Wynn's corner, threw in the towel as Bernard Hopkins comes out with another victory. And let's look at one of the earlier punches in this particular round number 3. That's the one who staggered him earlier before he really put him down and put him in trouble on the ropes near his own corner. Bernard Hopkins and the Executioner, again, kind of disappointed. There's some of his entourage there. They're ready for the execution. We'll be back. Elmer Smith will be talking with the Executioner in just a moment. At the Sands Hotel and Casino in Atlantic City, Bernard Hopkins continues his run through the USBA division and, of course, maintains his record with a win in the third round, a 48-second TKO of his opponent, Melvin Wynn, and he's with our Elmer Smith right now. Elmer?
Bernard Hopkins, another great job in there. You fought with your usual dispatch, but I noticed at the end of the fight that you spit out the mouthpiece as though you were a little disappointed that you weren't able to get a little bit more work today.
Yeah, you know what? First, I'd like to give all praises to Allah, and congratulations to Steve Little, my stablemate, just won the super middleweight title from Michael Nunn. And yes, I was kind of discouraged a little bit, but then again, anything can happen in there. You get the job done, but you know, Elmer, it's hard for me to get the fights that I want. And Butch is negotiating up to his ears about getting these guys to fight me. So every now and then, it's in the back of my mind that I want to go more rounds, and I'm going. But I have to know that this job is to have longevity in boxing. If you can get him out of there, get him out of there. No carry nobody. But I expect a little bit more work from this guy. This guy ain't coming to lay down. Much bigger guy, as you've seen. You know, he look bigger than me in the ring. And I just wanted to execute my ability.
We're going to ask you to describe just a little bit. I thought I saw you land a left. It was sort of a counter punch that started that series. But you describe for us, if you will, what it was that got the guy out of there.
I just stepped up the pace a little bit, Elmer. That's all. I wanted to see what the guy was about. The guy was a fill-in for a guy that pulled out on me. And, you know, I haven't watched no tapes or even heard of this guy. So I was a little optimistic about what to do and when to do it, but not be noticeable about it. And I seen that this guy must have heard about me, about my pressure, and wanted to dance. But it wasn't in his style, I don't think. And I just walked him on down, took my time, and put the punches together, and, you know, it was time to close the show.
You seem to be putting them together well, throwing the short stuff inside. Was there anything that you wanted to do today that you didn't get a chance to get done?
Get him out there earlier than I did. That's all I want.
Another nice job today. Thank you. Bernard, the executioner.